what did you think of the Hanzi Movie Method?
Well, it was an interesting take on the Memory Palace. So I've been aware of the Memory Palace for a long time, and it's just one of those things that I'd always said, yeah, I'm not sure that would really work all that well for me. I'm just not sure that's the way I work.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is the first time I've taken us, concrete, way of learning something, and using the Memory Palace to take a go at it. And at this point, I'm 100 characters in, and
Nice.
and I'm looking at it and say, okay, I can definitely, I definitely run into cases where I am looking at a character and I'm dissecting it by its props, by its components, and it actually brings to mind a story. So I'm sure that there is something that is working there for me. It's one of those things I was like, okay, 1,000 characters in, does that still hold water? And I'm at this point I'm going on faith that it's worked for other people, so it should work. But
Yeah, sure.
But I've seen instances of cases where it would work too, and where it really started hitting home was, there's a lot of the characters that we've done so far that I already knew the character and I knew what it meant, and so creating a story around it was sort of like going through the exercise of doing it, just to
Mm-hmm.
build the discipline to do it. But once I started hitting a few characters, either because they're just really rare and you were just using them in the progression, or they're just ones that I hadn't really internalized that much. That's where I really started noticing it's like, this really is helping me to remember it. And I've noticed, although I do sometimes have trouble remembering exactly which room within the house
Yeah.
I put them, but when I do, it's like, oh, I actually usually say that tone wrong, and it's actually helping me to improve the tone. I said, I would have said that tone wrong, I think, without thinking about it this way. So.
Yeah, that's been a bit of feedback we've gotten from a lot of people, was just that, when you can go back into the Memory Palace and just go, oh, I remember, because you can look at the three other factors of it. It's like, okay, so the I know that the pronunciation was J-I, but I can't remember whether it was second tone or third tone. But I know that J-I for me is Jennifer Aniston. So, and it must be in my childhood home. So when I'm with these two props, is she in the kitchen or is she in the living room, or, and then you just go in and then you instantly know. I've had so many instances of that where I think about it and I go, oh, I am looking at this character and for a moment I'm forgotten which tone was that again. And then as soon as I look at the pinion, especially because I've done it for 3,000 characters. So for now, as soon as I see the pinion, I know exactly who the actor is and where it is. Like that you just get better and better at that. Right. So as soon as I see it, I go, oh yeah, that was outside the entrance. That's first tone. And it's really, because the thing that you were saying at the beginning was like, oh, I don't know if this is for me. It's like, well, there's a way of conceptualizing it that you could think about, which is that, we have had writing as a human race for like 6,000 years, approximately, if you start from the very beginning. And we've had the ability to, you could argue that the evolution of our ability to visualize started well before we were humans. So you could even say it started in whatever evolutionary ancestor was, still in the ocean. So you could say 350 million years of evolution in visualizing things. So it's like, which are we going to be better at remembering? Like trying to stare at a page and figuring out the writing system, or going into the thing that we've got 350 million years of evolution behind us? So it's like, It is really effective at getting to remember that. And of course, like, it's just to get you to the point where you've seen the character enough in context that you will be able to just know it in the same way that you know an English word. Like you learn some new English word because you see it in context, and that will eventually be the case. So that's great. Sounds like you're progressing really well. And so keep it up. And as we get into the acquisition workshop today, we're going to get into more like, okay, now that we've figured out how to learn characters quickly, let's start utilizing them quickly in context. So first we'll talk about words, but before the end of the acquisition workshop, we'll be getting them into context and talking about the best ways to continue to get them into context in not just our system, but also like, in the future when you're trying to learn a word that's not in our system or something like that.